Good evening, everybody. Good day, good afternoon, wherever you're coming to us from. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. I'm so glad to be hosting once again a DYOR Live on the DYOR Media Network. That's right. It's the hottest thing on the internet right now. I bet you can't believe that you're watching. Little hyperbole every time I start the show sounds good. Anyway, if you can believe it, it's already December. We're only 4 weeks out from Christmas. It's December 4th, 2023, and the year is about coming to an end. And it's pumping for us, finally. But anyway, like I always like to say, we got a good show for you. We were only on twice last week. We'll be on a couple times this week. 1 or 2 times in the evening and then in the morning, kind of mixing it up. The Christmas season is starting to get a little active here, and I'm in Ottawa. That means Mrs. Striking and I got to hit the event circuit for her work, and of course we have friends here. So we wanted to try a few more evening shows during this season, but it looks like it's going to be nice and split up between that. And of course, whenever Pedro's available, we're all busy guys here. We're so busy doing stuff. You just gotta do it. But anyway, everyone, welcome to the show once again. If you have any comments, if you're watching live, have any comments, please drop them in the chat. I will feature them on screen, and Pedro and I will answer the question, or we will take the insults like a man. But anyway, if you're watching this on the replay, drop a comment in there, and I always pay attention to the comments, and I get back to everybody eventually. As always, if you're watching this on your mobile device and you want to multitask, just put us in the background by watching this on the LinkedIn app or the Twitch app, and you'll be able to check your phone, surf, all that type of stuff, while still keeping all this great information in the ear. Anyway, Pedro Garcia, how you doing this December?
I am doing well. Wow, I can't believe it's December already, right? I mean, to me, man, when I think about, I feel like it's still January, but it's December. Like a whole entire year has flown by, and I'm just like, dude, I hate dealing with the malls. And I have to admit, though, the malls are a lot more emptier than what I've expected. I still, I figured people would go on the last hurrah, just like we had in 2008, the last hurrah, right? That December, everybody just bought, right? Whereas, like, people almost feel the doom and gloom happening. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a lot of people in the mall. I don't see a lot of traffic out there dealing with presents. And granted, it's still a little early, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think Black Friday was very chill.
Yeah, I would agree with that. About the chill, but online sales, they said were up 3% or something like that. So everyone rushed out and bought Amazon stock. But I live across from the mall here, and they did something that other malls don't do. They didn't build it in the middle of nowhere and make people drive to it. They built it in the city center, right where a train station was. So it literally, the train comes up, you get out of the subway, you go into the mall. And so it's always packed. Food court's packed. There's 2 universities nearby, packed. They built it right. So this one isn't suffering at all from lack of people there. That's for sure. Although because it's downtown Ottawa, they have to. They have a lot of we'll say people not doing so well in life shelters, and they try to find their way into the grocery store in there, and it's not a good sight. So there's lots of security there too. But anyway, the Christmas season is upon us, Pedro. And what are the crypto gods giving us for this crypto Christmas?
It's so good you asked. Now, it looks like we got a little Santa Claus rally going on here. I mean, we blew through, and I did bring this up when we've talked about a lot about the market, right? As I've said that, I was expecting to see some lower lows here, and we didn't see it. So I had to really kind of reverse my view of we're probably going to bust through this area. And I thought that we would maybe hit the top layer here at the 39,000, 40,000 area here. But man, we came through, and over the weekend, man, we just shot right through it. I mean, like with a beast. And I know Saylor, right? Didn't he buy some more or something like that? So
yeah, Saylor bought another 16,000 BTC. At we'll just call it $500 million. I think it's 563 or something like that. So if that's not a bullish comment, then or bullish move on his part, then I don't know what is.
There's a part of me that almost feels like he's sticking it to the institutions because they're really trying to get the SEC to really push hard the the not the NFTs,
ETF.
the ETFs, the ETF, all these acronyms, man. It's like like CDO, CMO, or not CMOs, but you know what I'm saying, ICOs, and you're just like, oh Lord, give me a break. Anyways, but all that to say is this: this push up here is Saylor knows. I think Saylor knows as soon as they really get in and get everything approved, you should see a huge pump. Now, I don't think that it's going to push as hard as we think, but I think he's trying to front run him. I mean, and so
that's a good point.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I was like, why does he keep buying? But the reality is once everything's approved, and I'm pretty positive the institutions are out there buying it, right? And I know, dude, they've got unlimited money, so I'm pretty positive they have a ton of miners as well. So, I mean, they've got, they probably have, $10-20 million easy just to be able to mine their stuff, right? And at these prices, at $40,000 to mine a Bitcoin, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it costs them maybe 3-4 cents a watt, maybe, or whatever it would be, right? So, I mean, if you can if you could get a Bitcoin, at $3,000 or $2,000, because some of these guys, they've got connections with probably the local areas, municipalities to be able to produce the electricity. Either way, you front run it or you're sitting there and you're mining it. You at 40,000, a Bitcoin, it's not, it's a Satoshi right here, man. At 40,000 ain't bad. But my biggest complaint here, and you guys always, is that right here we don't see any resistance on it going down. And I know you're like, well, why do you want to? Because I want to see a sell-off.
A correction is always good. A correction is healthy.
Yeah.
Not a major one, not like 10% or 20%, but enough though that a bunch of the people take some money out, keep the super green from going crazy, and then having people worried that the major crash is going to happen.
Exactly. And I'll bring this up here. You can see here that it's just literally going up, sideways, up. This isn't healthy. It's unhealthy. Absolutely. So these push-ups right here is not a good sign that it's going to continue. Now, I also understand if you look at Bitcoin from its previous bull runs, right? Like we can see back here, you saw similar movements, right? Like,
that's a pretty nice movement there.
Look, I mean, it's up, sideways, and then a little bit down correction. Went from 19,000 to 15,000 or 16,000, right? And then up, came back down for a little retracement, and then you just see boom, boom, boom. And I was hoping we wouldn't see these big, huge drops again, or these big, huge push-ups, right? Like I thought, because the institutions are involved, that they would keep it from just exploding, but it's just, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's gonna, maybe they've bought into the hysteria of pushing the market up, right? And then selling up at the top. I mean, like.
Well, everybody thinks that the top is going to be different this time. They think the top's going to be like infinity. But as we've said on previous shows, Pedro, the all-time high before of 68,000, whatever it was, had all that FTX and Celsius and Voyager funny money in it, where they were pumping their own tokens. The banks were lending on those tokens, and it was built on credit. And everyone said after that crashed, what do we need to get the price back to that? And you heard me say it a lot, and saying you need the institutional money, and you need a lot of it. Just to get it back to 60-some thousand, you needed BTC's market cap to go from 500 billion to $1 trillion.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden we see, just this past few months, all the talk about ETFs. We talk about the SEC losing a few key cases. We also see Congress being more favorable of not completely, but moving towards being more favorable to it. And the institutions are starting to bite at the edges there. And the price starts coming up from institutional money. I mean, I realize that people like you and me are putting $1 in. Crypto Mike probably put $5 in because he's the king of Manitoba. But guys like Michael Saylor put $500 million in. You know, the banks put, or whomever, institutional investors A through Z put in the big money here, or I should say all the way up this chart here, and start moving it. And we're getting close to where we could see an all-time high again. I mean, the all-time high is not out of there. I'm not finding the right word. The right word is crazy. You know, it's not like, oh, that's not going to be like there for a while. All of a sudden, people are like, it's in the grasp. It's in the grasp. You know, it's at 40,000 now. What's it at now? 42,000. What are we at?
It's 41. Yeah, 41.8 is where we're sitting at right now. Yeah, and it's been strong. I mean, the biggest key is this: I don't. It's strong as in price movement, but again, I mean, look, there's not a lot of volume again. Like it's not a lot of volume. It's not.
Although I might say it's not a lot compared to the back in the day back there, but it seems to be, from just looking at the graph here, that the volume over the past couple of months is up a lot. I mean, the volume in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, compared to, you know, a month or 2 months ago.
I see that. Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. But I guess I'm looking at more historical when we look at things from a volume standpoint, right? From last year, or from last bull run, right? This is where we were sitting at for, let me remove this here so you can see it bigger. You can see the last bull run, which we were sitting at these levels right here, right? Like, this is the volume that we saw coming out when we hit 40,000. Okay, that we're talking, it's a substantial amount. We're talking, it's almost 3 times the amount of volume that we currently have right now, sitting at 40,000, a respective amount, you know, like when you look at the volume. And this is where I sit there and go, I don't know.
Oh, man, yeah, it's not just a little different, Pedro. It's dramatic.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is why I like, but price is like, if the market is moving up, don't fight the market. Like first rule in trading, don't fight the market. The market is always right. Like when in doubt, it's right. That's it. Like, don't fight it. Like, don't be dumb. Don't sit there and go, well, I'm smarter. No, you're not.
I mean, this right here near where I'm pointing at here, you don't even need to know the numbers, the total numbers, just the ratio between here and here. Not even the high. I wish I could get to that, but when it was, you know, at its. This is strange. All right, I wish I could point to this. Where the all-time high is right above my hand here. The volume was, I don't know, 2 or 3 times what it is now. But the volume in 2017. Right here. No, back further, that right there, where the volume was the highest. Move to your right a little. Yeah, right in there. When was that?
This was December 2017.
All right, so that was the first major super pump, and everyone went crazy. But look at that volume. I mean, where was that volume coming from? Because the number of people in crypto wasn't there. Although I would. All right, well, that, you know what I guess makes sense here is that I probably haven't figured out yet, is that back then people were trading 10,000 Bitcoins at a time because the price was a couple $100. And now, you know, as the price...
bro, we're talking it's 4,000, 5,000. But again, all right, granted, I agree with that, the amount of volume here. I agree with that statement. But let's talk about the previous pump. I was speaking with a mining group. I think they're called NFN8 group. It's one of the mining groups out there. They've been out since 2017, right? So the guy assumes that and we were talking, and he assumes that we're going to be at about 200,000. Okay, and I very much have a similar view, right? I think we go 2,000, potentially 300,000. But from a historical standpoint, right, we could hit that 200,000 mark, okay? and then potentially we could see some major jumps, right? Now I picked the 6,000 because it was 600,000 for the next bull market, right? Based off of institutions getting involved and us seeing the money come in. But here's the thing I want to bring up again. If you look at the amount of volume from the previous bull run at the same period in time, okay, at its height, right? Like, look, you can see we had a huge amount of volume, people buying at 40,000. I mean, and let's pull up the volume here. And granted, I'm looking at the monthly chart here, so I don't disagree here. Okay, but look at this. We're talking 294,000, right? 430, done that month. Saylor himself, just this month alone, has done about, what would that be? 2% of that? I mean, that one guy.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to say though is what I'm trying to get at is this: is that it's barely anything, like in comparison to the same price point around 40,000. Look at the volume. Look, we're talking a substantial amount versus right now. So it's gonna be really interesting to see. It's hard for me to get behind this rally. If you're a miner, you're loving this, right? Like, you mine, you sell, you mine, you sell, right? You're happy, you're thankful, that's, you're making money. But the average investor, I don't think they're in. I don't think they're in because, maybe we can put it up to that a lot of the exchanges like FTC, they went belly up, right? And additionally to that,
FTX.
And we have thank you, FTX. I don't know why I said FTC. Sorry. Anyways, FTX went belly up. We've had easily 4 or 5. I know Kraken is having issues and problems with the SEC receiving lawsuits and threats. That I saw the interview that happened there last week. That I think they were on CNN. So there's a lot of stuff that is happening now where money is actually being funneled into lawsuits versus potentially Bitcoin. Maybe they would buy Bitcoin to back almost as a hedge, not a hedge, but in a sense, right? To sit there and say that they have X amount of Bitcoin in their to back their deposits, right? Much like a bank would have. But in the same sense, I still find it very. I just don't. The volume is. I want to say a fraction, but it's not. It's maybe one third of what I think it should be.
Well, maybe there's a reason for that. I mean, it seems like more institutions are trading it now. Maybe the charting guys just don't have access to certain exchanges anymore to get their volume. Maybe. Of course, they would probably put some kind of disclaimer, like a bar or something, saying, or adjust it, or I don't know. There's got to be some reason. Maybe we'll put that on the list of things to research. Say why is volume different?
Maybe here you said maybe there's more trading of it. No, if there was more trading, we would see more volume, right? So my point is this: is that potentially, right? It's not the institution, or it's not the people that are buying this anymore, but it's actually the institutions that are pushing it up in relationship to turn it around. Because as soon as they, I think if grandma hears Bitcoin is now $60,000, where do they typically buy? You don't buy in these lows. They typically buy up here, right?
They buy at the top.
They do that buy up when it sits at 60, 70, that next push when it hits 100,000, right? What are they going to do? Right, they're going to sit there and go, wah, 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 right? So it's unfortunate. That's what we see. That's what we see with. So maybe it's just like I call it the rope-a-dope, right? Where they're going around the ring the whole entire time period, and they're going to tire her out. And so people like Saylor. Saylor is just, he's a he's a perma bull, right? He's Bitcoin.
He's a maxi for sure.
Like 100% maxi. So at any point right now in his lifetime, right, over the next 10 years, he will just be buying, right? Like him buying what's the least amount of Bitcoin he's ever bought? Maybe 50 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean,
small order, just a little limit order there for the morning coffee.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's always buying. So he's, you know, we just found right earlier. Earlier last month we talked about he finally broke even, right, when it went above 39. Right now, again, he bought in up here at the top again. So I'm assuming his cost basis is 35, 37. Because he bought a ton more. So
well, he's one of the guys that drove the price up. I mean, he bought it. He started buying down there at 32, 33, and just that's that giant spike on that one day. It was mostly him just getting in, then a bunch of FOMO. The next, if you're looking at the 4-hour chart, the next wick after that was the FOMOers. But still, though, I mean, my God.
So it's just one of those things. As Bitcoin, as we continue to move up here, I am. This is the 200 period moving average. Okay, as we're looking at there, 100-day period moving average. And one of the things I want to bring up here. Why aren't these showing? They should be showing. Something has gone awry. Where's my? Let's try this again one more time. Okay, and can somebody speak with our good friends TradingView? And I keep asking them, why does my TradingView, I spend good money with these guys, and you would assume that I could keep my ribbons on for my SMAs, but for whatever reason,
I'm sure there's a Reddit group that can help you with that, right?
Yes. It's just a little mine frustration there. Give me 1 second. Apologize about that, people. 20.
That's all right. I'm gonna bring us back to the studio here for a second, and talk about give a quick pitch about sponsors while you get that sorted, Pedro. As always, got to take a few minutes to pay the bills, as they say here. I'm not going to run the long ads here today. But the first thing I want to talk about is our channel partner here, Audit Chain. Got them up here on the great screen here. Their website in the background, they are as it says here, Web3 financial disclosure, decentralized assurance infrastructure. What that means is they provide, for the financial reporting and assurance industry, they provide a Web3 solution. I know that's catch-all term now, Web3 solution, but it actually is a decentralized blockchain solution that audits financial reports that companies file in Edgar or in the European version of it, and gives you answers in a few minutes to see if they've filed correctly, if they've filed all their disclosures, their balance sheet balances, if they're overexposed on certain credit markets and these types of things. I shouldn't say credit markets, I should say mark-to-market type things. And gives you all kinds of warnings based on the individual taxonomies for the location and for that industry and even the company itself. And if you are in the financial reporting industry, you will know what that means, because I don't necessarily know what that means. But they provide, the key word here is proof of state. You guys have heard all of the proof of reserve stuff where someone goes in and says, yeah, they've got a bunch of wallets for $1 million in Bitcoin, and they've got customers that deposited $999,000 worth of Bitcoin, so they've got proof of reserves, but they could have $10 million in liabilities, and the company would be bankrupt. What proof of state does is that their software actually provides proof that the entire company is solvent, and it does it through a cryptographic, through cryptography, in order to prove this to the outside public world without releasing any public info that is proprietary to the company. And so, in essence, anyone, including accountants, Big Four auditors, short sellers, people that run hedge funds, anything like that, can use this interface and say, as soon as someone Elon's chief financial officer presses that file button, they can run the report and see if it's correct, and if it's not, short sell. Or call them out and say, why isn't this correct? But it's particularly good for banks, because banks have notoriously bad financial reports Whereas manufacturing companies, it's much easier for them to get correct. Anyway, that's Audit Chain. Go to auditchain.finance. They're just getting their stuff written into trying to get it written into a standard setting board right now that, if successful, I'll have information on that, and then it'll basically, their formats will basically be required around the world. But of course, I also want to say thank you to Camuso CPA. See if I can get it here. Yes, Patrick Camuso here is in. I'll be speaking of this for the United States tax season. Patrick Camuso here with his company Camuso CPA is, as I say, he's one of those guys that when Pedro has the thing up here saying this is not financial advice, this is not tax advice, Patrick has his on saying this is financial advice and this is tax advice, and he is allowed to do that because he does provide that for a living, and he specializes in crypto accounting, whether it's this year and getting you ready for the end of the year tax season, or taking you back to when we first started in crypto and rolling you back up because you blew it and you need to get yourself right. Their firm is able to do that, and we're glad to be partners with Patrick Camuso and his employees at Camuso CPA. So once again, Patrick, thank you very much. And Pedro, before we hit go back to your charts, one of the things I wanted to mention real quickly here was that the people when the market runs a little bit, there's a lot of people that get to say, "Ha, I told you so," and one of those is the president of El Salvador here. Because when he said El Salvador is going on the Bitcoin standard here and it can be legal tender and we're going to issue bonds in Bitcoin and all this type of stuff, the naysayers, the articles, if you Google it, there's thousands of pages in Google saying, what an idiot, he should be fired. Even the World Bank is like, this is a bad plan. And the United Nations is like, this is awful. This is terrible. You guys can't do that. And he's like, just stick with us. And they're like, well, the price is declining. He goes, yeah, the price doesn't matter so much because, he said the price compared to the U.S. dollar is declining. He said, but the price compared to the Venezuela peso or whatever it is, he said, it's skyrocketed. I mean, know. So he said, it depends how you look at it. And he said, I'm looking at it from a Central America point of view. And he said, as compared to the dollar, sure, it's gone down a lot. But compared to a lot of other things, it is not. And he said, when the Bitcoin price does come back up, we'll be sitting in the catbird seat. And they are. They've now their investment is now profitable. For one of the reasons why they DCA'd a lot and bought down at $20,000, things that the rest of us should have done. And now all is going well, and he's still doing two good things. He's keeping the financial health going in the country, and he's still locking up the criminals, unlike Chicago, San Francisco, New York City, and all those places where they're not. So the economy is running well, and businesses and business people feel safe. Doing a great job. It's one of those turnaround things that, all of us in this industry saw it coming. We said, well, as soon as the market turns around, if he can hold it together until then, it's going to be great. And he's doing it.
It's funny is he really did crack down on crime. I mean, he went through, really was like, yo, if you're cartel, you got to get out. Like, we're not playing. Like, he did a good job.
Just put all those dudes in the joint, man.
Yeah. Like, he wasn't playing. He's like, you're done. Like, 3 strikes, nah. 1 strike, you're done. It was,
right. Like 1 strike.
I mean, they did a good job there, and they really, really put a lot of just energy into making sure that business would flourish in El Salvador. So, I mean, I give it up to him. I mean, now we're seeing Colombia president really starting to look at him. He gave it, thumbs up, like crypto, if you guys come out here. So it's really interesting to start to see what's going to happen with Bitcoin, and a lot of these South American companies, or not companies, but countries really start to move forward into crypto. I mean, when they had huge inflation, I mean, they were actually getting loans through centralized crypto institutions at low rates versus a traditional bank which was charging them, 50 to 100% interest rate. I mean, it's crazy when you think about, and they were able to do decent by going through a lot of these traditional banks. And you know what? If a few of those banks went belly up, so they kept that money. I mean, so it's interesting. It just, if you took a loan out with a few of those those entities, that you're doing pretty good. It was basically free money. You know.
And I got to tell you, if you're someone in Turkey, Venezuela, for that matter, Argentina, and even Brazil, and you've put a lot of your money in Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. Not only did you hedge against your own currency's inflation, but your money on the American market is a lot more wealthy right now, and you did a great job. And so remember, everyone out there, when you hear a politician say Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation, it may not be for his country of $32 million that is just above the United States. But for the rest of the world, we'll just say it darn well is.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And as of right now, I hate to say, I'm pro-America. I want America to do great. But you just heard today, literally, not today, it was over the weekend, Ray Dalio, Diamond talking about, they're very bearish on the U.S. economy and bonds. I mean, they just straight came out. I was shocked that they were so blunt about their stance of what their feelings are with the economy, and they were blatant about it. I mean, Jason Hunter on CNBC today literally talks about he sees the S&P 500 going down to the 3,500 mark. Actually, my trading coach, because I was looking at that.
It's possible.
I talked to you. Well, we talked on Friday or the other day, where I was like, you're like, where do you think this, the S&P would go to? I go, I can see it going down to 3,500, if not, 1,800. I know that's a crazy amount. People don't want to hear that. But the reality is, if Jason Hunter, who is like the chief analyst for, I believe he's the chief analyst for JP Morgan, he just outright saying, I mean, the guy, the what is his name? The older guy on CNBC, on not Squawk Box. Man, I cannot remember his name.
There's Joe. There's Kramer.
No, not Kramer. I think, maybe Joe. No, Joe was the one who got yelled at by
Joe Kiernan.
Elon Musk. Yeah, but yelled at by Elon, right, a couple weeks ago. But actually, he didn't even get yelled at. Honestly, I was talking with a friend of mine. He understands. I was shocked. Disney's losing money now. People are pulling money out because
they're looking to sell some assets now. Disney, the rumors are.
Yeah, they're losing money because, what's his name on CNBC sat there and pushed Elon Musk to make him say "F you," and listen,
that was great. Dude, you're gonna blackmail with money. F you. Oh, go F yourself.
Yeah, fine, go. And then he goes, "You're just gonna ruin the world." He goes, "No, we'll let the world decide what's gonna happen." I said that. I was like, wow, dude, this guy just straight gave that. But I also said to myself, everybody knows that Elon Musk was bullied. Everybody knows that as a kid, into his early teenage years, that dude was a scrapper and a fighter. I mean, I have friends of mine who actually knew him when early on when he was a gamer. And dude, he would always brag, like, I'm about to sell my company. I'm building this company. Everybody thought he was full of it, literally. Now, I wasn't there. But I just have friends of mine who actually gamed with them way early on in the early 2000s.
That's
right?
awesome.
Oh yeah. My friend still has his phone number. Well, I don't think he has the same phone number, but he's got the phone number in his thing. Like, legit, they were friends, right? And I say this because Elon Musk, even back then, is a scrapper guy. Everybody knows he's a scrapper. Like, he's not joking. This dude knows how to fight. Like, he's a street fighter. And so why are you going to push this man on open TV or public TV where you're going to put him on the ropes? That's just silly, and the man has a lot of power. So why would you put the man who has one of the most powerful men on the face of the earth up against the ropes against Disney? Now, I get Disney is a juggernaut, but Elon Musk is, it is, right? But it's not favorable. Many people are not favorable with it. Whereas you look at the people who are favorable to Elon Musk, but like, that man's he's got a cult like Apple, okay? Like, people will follow. I think if he was to truly run for president, he would easily win over Trump. In all honesty,
I think there's a lot of people that could. I mean, let's not get started with that.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone.
Yeah, that's for another day.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say, I mean, if the man was the fact that the man's foreign born, there's no way that he's going to be able to be president. But either or, The reality is this, is that that's how much power he has around the world. And this man wanted to sit there and push Elon Musk, dude.
Come on.
Silly. That's just silly. But I'm shocked he still has a job in all reality, dude.
Well, he got the viewers, that's for sure. Anyway, Paige, I want to take a moment to redirect where I was the past couple of days. I was in Toronto at the Canadian Blockchain Consortium's Canadian Blockchain Summit for 2023. It's the first time they've had it outside. They're based in Calgary, Alberta. And it's the first time they've had it in outside of Alberta, and they had it in Toronto, and they had a great little event here that you probably may have seen the video playing in the background here. Didn't try to be a big, massive trade show. It was just a summit of industry leaders that, as you know, our past guest, Colea Carrington, is put together to speak about the markets, to speak about the trends coming up. And they take a focus from the mining industry and the things required to secure the blockchain network, everything from power to data center locations to the miners themselves, and everything that goes around that industry, but also everything that builds on top of it. Pretty much the entire Bitcoin ecosphere builds on top of that. And so there was represented by a lot of pool guys, like people that run pools, people that run exchanges, and people that run all the infrastructure stuff. And it was very good. And I'm bringing this up, first of all, to thank the Canadian Blockchain Consortium for having me for the event. That was a great honor to be there. And during that event, they announced that there's a mining company called Hut 8. They merged with US BTC, and they made the announcement right there in front of us. And it was a big deal, and there's all kinds of hooray, harumph, that type of stuff. They wanted to help get the word out about the event, so I'm going to be doing that, but not just by talking about it, but I met a lot of good people that we're going to have on as guests. I met somebody from the pool company Foundry Finance, or Foundry, whatever. They're one of the, maybe the largest Bitcoining pool. And mining pool, and also so I'm going to have a representative from them on. Met a great gentleman who is basically the guru of what we call power in providing data centers, high performance computing centers, and Bitcoin mining centers, which, when you think about it, are all kind of the same things. Big buildings with lots of stuff in them that draw a lot of power. And how to get them power, where it comes from, and more importantly, the narrative about the Bitcoin industry being a massive consumer of power, which undoubtedly it is, but compared to other things, it's like, meh, not so bad. And also the efforts the industry is doing to greenify itself with more wind power, more hydropower, all that type of stuff. And there was a gentleman from a mining company in Labrador, Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada, in which they didn't use any power from the grid. Nothing. In fact, they provide power to some of the small towns out there that they generate from their Bitcoin mining farm. And they provide heat. They take some of the waste heat water or this slurry of stuff, and send it off to the other places. And not only that, they're in the middle of nowhere. They couldn't get a good internet connection, so they built a good internet connection for their location, and now they sell that to the towns near them. Now, if you can't beat that, the mining operation comes in and provides all that for the local, because they have cheap power there. How great that is. And then also, kind of one of the key things you've heard a lot about lately is the we'll call it the methane emissions that are contributing to climate change. And as it turns, I don't know if you've seen, Pedro, the new cameras they have, but they can see methane now on a like an infrared camera. Not just like, oh, look, there's a molecule, but the difference between one spot versus another. So they can point it at an oil well and see if it's leaking methane. And there are amazing amounts of methane being shot in the air at some of these oil things where people are like, no, it should be fine. And now it's like, they look at it and you're like, you can't believe it. It's like, and methane is 80 times worse than carbon dioxide for the atmosphere. And so what they're doing is the Bitcoin miners are coming in and saying, hey, we'll take care of that methane gas for free.
Well, how's it? I was going to say.
Literally for free. They'll come in and they'll spend the money to cap the well. and draw the methane out that it has to escape, otherwise the whole thing's going to rupture and make a mess. And instead of escaping it, they burn it.
Yes.
Or they use the pressure of it coming out to spin a turbine or something like that, and then they burn it after that. So they get to use the energy twice, and then they use the waste heat from that to heat water, to heat other buildings and things like it. It's just one of those things you're like, oh my god, a no-brainer. And so you're going to see the narrative switch pretty soon between Bitcoin consuming a lot of power to Bitcoin saving the climate. It's kind of crazy. Crypto Mike has to pipe up here. I put it. I'm not going to say it, but you read the screen. That's Crypto Mike's opinion. So you should do kidding in Manitoba. Cheap green energy here. Oh, mining. He just typed it fast. Yes, it is. Oops, mining. Yes, you're right, Crypto Mike. Sorry to cut you off there, Pedro.
No, it's okay. Please. Actually, I love that, because the idea that we actually have a institution that's going through, and when I mean institution, I mean Bitcoin institution as an overall, right? Mining groups that will sit there and be able to reverse. Now I just want to make sure we clarify this, because I this is the first time I've heard of this. I think this is awesome. That we can go through, cap, and then reutilize. I don't think we're what's the word? Are we transforming the methane in the atmosphere that is being released, or is it?
It's the methane that's escaping from the wells.
Okay.
Either because of poor construction, or they're old, or they just didn't see it and didn't know they had to cap, because they couldn't previously see it. They just saw, they basically just put a flame up there and try and burn it off as flare gas. It doesn't get it all. And not only that, but they found, just reading this story today about it, this guy directed me, he said, here's a story about how it's working in the Gulf of Mexico. In the Gulf of Mexico, there's, say that there's 10 drilling wells for gas, not for oil, for gas. They pump those all via these big compressors to central locations. And then that central location then puts it into the pipeline to go to the coast. And apparently, those transfer points are the weak points, and gas escapes, and it's like bubbling in the water and stuff. They can go in and capture that and turn those into Bitcoins. For free. Well, they have to do the infrastructure. But
right.
They have to pay to do that. But it's stuff that otherwise would heat the atmosphere up another amazing amount. Now they can say, well, we're going to go in and get that and get it for free. It's amazing. Anyway, Pedro, let's get in a few more charts here to talk about things. We only got about 10 minutes left in the show here this evening before the Mrs. Strikey and I got to hit the dinner circuit. And so let's what else you got to talk about here?
Yeah, so let's go check out a couple ones that we've been talking about a lot. Let's go and look at CAS, and then we'll check out Shiba Inu, Shiba
Zach Humphreys, Zach Humphreys. Zach, if you're watching this, that was intentional.
What's the other guy? Something Jordan? No, not Jordan. I forget it. Him and Zach both get together a lot. I forget their names. I don't follow them much. Anyways, it shows you where I put my time at. But let's go ahead and look at some of this stuff, because it's really interesting. So we're starting to see, we did come down into the area that I did say. We came down, we didn't come down as far as I expected. Like I said, I was expecting to come back, test the 5063, but we did come down to the 70 area where we tested the 50 and the 89 and 100-day moving averages that we're seeing here. Now, just like with Bitcoin, we're seeing a pretty good rally here. So this is pretty nice. I was expecting a stronger push here, just simply because of what's going on in the market. But the reality is this looks good. When we look at the actual movement of the market, we did put in, did we put in a higher high? Almost a higher high. Look at that. Just barely tapped. So it will be interesting to see what happens tomorrow as Shiba Inu starts to move up. The other part about SHIB, and I want to bring this up, is this area here that I've talked about. If we can cut off that extra zero, where we come up to these levels where we cross that 100 and we crossed the 4 zeros, I think we should see a major push, just much like when Bitcoin hit above 30, right, where you saw that push up. So if we get above that zero, do we have my? We don't have it.
I have it. No, I have it up here on the top of the screen now.
Ah, perfect. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
When you're talking about volume, I have to move it because it covers it.
Ah, good point. Thank you. You can see here is when we get to this next level here, we should see some type of resistance at the 4011, and then come back down, and then see it push back up into these higher levels. But I do see, once we get above this area here, the next portion of this is to see that 4016 area. So this does bode well, fairly good for Shiba Inu here. If Bitcoin can keep going up, we should see SHIB go up from here as well. Now let's check out CAS, because I know a lot of people have been following CAS here. Again, because Bitcoin is moving up, I was expecting this to see a bit of a sell-off, but as you guys can see here, that this is pretty strong as it's now moving up.
CAS is moving again, huh?
Yeah, this is how it's moving. I mean, this is what it's playing. Or is this? No, this is KuCoin. I was wondering. I was like, wait, does not look like them. It's another one, KuCoin. I was actually impressed with KuCoin. I was actually looking at this the other day. They actually did pretty good. I mean, they literally doubled from 4.7 all the way up to $8. So I mean, within a month, since November 23rd, or excuse me, November 1st-ish area, they've almost doubled in price, which is impressive for an actual institution like that to actually go up. So congratulations to KuCoin. Now let's check out, where's CAS? I don't think this is CAS, but let me make sure. CASPA, here we go. There we are. I was wondering, it didn't look right. So you can sit there and see that this area mark here, I was expecting for us to come down almost 50x to you could see here that it's strong. I mean, I'm impressed. They're holding it, but I want to see more. I want to see price push with the amount of volume coming in. I would expect from an actual price movement that I would expect it to move up harder because of the amount of volume coming in. So, we did close above the previous week's high, okay, for today. So I do expect this to push up. The only problem is, it's just, and I always bring this up, right, is if it goes up, typically on Monday, we should see a sell-off on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or see it kind of peter out on Tuesday,
right.
And then Wednesday start to see a hold, and Thursday and Friday a sell-off. So these are these things that the caveat, I want you guys to make sure you understand with, from a trading standpoint, is that the way the etymology of a candle is, it goes up first and goes down, or goes down first to go up, because they need to bring in the fodder to be able to push up. So meaning, I'm an institution, I want to go long, but I have a lot of buys, so I'll push the market slowly down first and get all these people to start selling, and I'm taking their orders and then turning it on and push it back up. So from a daily chart, you can see here that if in the beginning of the week they start to push it up Sunday and Monday, my instinct is to sit there and say we could see a turnaround here on CAS coming down here, at least retesting in this 12-cent mark. But with the caveat of this, if Bitcoin continues to go up, okay, and Saylor and everybody else starts to pump in and starts to push it, listen, the next point behind CAS is really, I would assume, a whole number, which would be that 20-cent mark. So we've already tested that 15-cent mark right here already. We did see a nice little decent sell-off down to 11 cents, which is basically 1/3 of its value, pretty much. I mean, what it goes down.
This is a great looking chart right here. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, exactly. What is this? CAS, BTC expecting huge price increases. Hey man, definitely, very much could be, very much. I mean, you never know, but this baby could be pushing up. If you could as well, guys, hit the like button on YouTube if you don't mind. I would appreciate that. But that great looking chart though is, I don't like it. I like retracements. I like retracements because I like buying in. I don't like buying high. I like buying low. Okay, so now this could just be
Wow,
a
amazing
pit stop.
advice from Pedro Garcia, everybody. Don't like buying high. You want to buy low.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I like Warren Buffett's thing. When everybody is fearful to buy, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you buy. Blood in the streets meaning red chart, right? That's when you're looking to buy. When everybody's greedy, be fearful, right? To keep buying. So this is my I got to adjust that. But, you know, in crypto is also a little bit different. But it still holds true with that idea of everybody's buying. So, again, a lot of people bought right in here. You can see this huge pump right here at the peak here. Are these people going to buy more, or are they going to wait, right, until they can buy low? We don't know. But what I'm saying here is this, is that, you know, maybe dollar cost average at these levels and then potentially move it up. If we start to move up, you know what I'm saying, then great. But don't sell your house. Like back in 2017, I was Ubering. Long story short, I met this guy. I was dropping him off over in Greenwich, Connecticut. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. It's basically
I'm familiar with it. All right, it's quite nice.
Yeah, and I was dropping him off in Costco, if anybody knows where that is. And I was talking to the guy, and he was straight. And this was in October and November, December-ish. No, it was December, during that time period. And he bought Bitcoin at 18,000, 19,000, and he mortgaged his house to get the money to buy it.
Well, he can get 3 houses now.
Oh, no, I don't know. Now, I mean, it was 20,000. This was 2016, 2017.
He wrote it down too.
Yeah, exactly. I doubt it. You know, like he had a wife, kids, and he mortgaged his house. I'm pretty positive he probably got a divorce. I mean, just being all, and his wife probably found out.
Ain't got no finance, ain't got no romance.
Yeah, that's how it works. Everybody knows that. Anyways, only if you can find a girl who likes you for you. Anyways, it's horrible. I apologize. But what I'm saying though is this: is that be careful with this. Don't make sure you're not buying in at the peaks up here. Wait for a sell-off. It will sell off. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You want retracement so you can buy in. If we push up, then come down and wait for the retracement back at a lower level so you can get in. Personally, I'm more comfortable at the 12-cent mark, and I'm more comfortable at that 7-cent mark for myself. Those are the areas that I'm looking for, in a nutshell. So that's in a nutshell.
All right, Pedro. What else we got to talk about here today? All I really want to do is have a nice little evening show here, get a good crowd watching. We had a couple good viewers on LinkedIn. We had the usual suspects on YouTube. We had plus a few extras, and then the great Twitch and Kick streaming platforms. I'm sure will be good for one or two others. But as I say, thank you to everybody for watching tonight.
Wait, we got to do Mike. Mike just brought up Grok, or not Grok.
Oh yeah, Grok.
Grok.
Yeah. Not Groot. That's the Avengers movies or Marvel or whatever. Yeah. Let's get Groot here.
Let's check out Grok here. Ooh.
A pullback. Insider selling, ladies and gents. Although it seemed to have stopped. It seemed to have stopped at a good point there.
Yeah. Kinda. Really, the next spot that you would actually have buyers stepping in would be more at the 005 here, 0055. It's a decent spot, but it fell below the 20 period moving average, as well as that 8 period moving average, because it's definitely showing some weakness there. But in all reality, it's not bad. It's not bad here. Playing off a tab that you can see here, it's again, it's 10 cent. If I was gonna buy it, I would be buying it more at the 5 cent and 3 cent mark area right here for myself. If I was looking at it, party crashing night. I wonder how Grok is doing. Yeah. So that's my thought. That's where I'm going right now. It's not showing any distinctive that it's going to go up or down. We're just putting in a few, what do they call it, a sideways pattern here. And with Bitcoin is skyrocketing, and we have this guy going sideways, that's not a good sign. Just saying.
Mike says don't buy. Well, I would say it depends on the. I've been listening to Pedro, and he's got the wick went down here, and then they bought it back up here. And If this line can I can't do it in 3D here. Here, and then could keep going like that, ladies and gentlemen. But as we know, it's a meme coin, so there's heavy manipulation in it. There's whales in it selling, whales buying in it, people trying to drive shorts and longs out, yada, yada, yada.
Well, what I'm assuming is that the whales who bought in right here, as well as the whales who bought in right here, who pushed it up, right?
Yeah, they sold there, and then they sold here.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a 10x here at the very top. I mean, it was that 2 cent, and it came from 0.003 cents. So it's a 10x. It's not a bad, in a month. They got a 10x. Not bad. That reminds me of. That reminds me of an old ICO craze that we saw back in 2020 and 21, right? Like when you would start to see a 10x in a month, right? So, who cares about 10% a year? I want a 10,000% in a month. So
exactly. And then you wanted to parlay that into 10,000 a month, so you had $1 million in a month, or $1 million X in a month, right? So
yeah.
All right, Pedro. It's that time. It's the end of the show. We're as they say, we're reeling it in here. It was a nice evening show.
It was.
And got a couple of good things. So we're talking about the Bitcoiner thing tonight. It was good. I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're gonna be out in the middle of the day. Give the middle of the day a shot, and then likely probably at least 2 more times the rest of the week. Not in the evening, but either in the middle of the day or the morning. Trying a few different things to see how the crowd works, to see what happens, and hopefully it works out. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Pedro, you got anything else here before we tune out?
I also want to thank you and allowing the blockchain consortium in Canadian blockchain consortium. I want to say thank you guys for allowing our man to come in and show off and allow us to connect and build with you guys. It's going to be fun. I look forward to next year coming checking you guys out as well. So.
And I want to make a shout out to my friend Flo and his crew from Blockchain North for hosting me at their table. As they say, the media table at the event, and giving me space to work. And hopefully we'll be seeing Flo and some of his content from that show on our network soon, as soon as he comes out with it, and we get some good things to have him on the show and talk about. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. As they say, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here on the DYOR Media Network. That's all we got for today. We will see you tomorrow. So be there.